Now, Mehmood, let's talk about the future and specifically the future of technology. And I know this is a big question, but I have to ask it. What does the future of technology mean to you?
Well, it's not really one thing, but there are a couple of themes I think that will drive it. The first one is the way that humans interact with technology. The consumerization of technology and the way we as people consume it's going to change drastically. We've seen already the emergence of different interfaces. For many years there's a screen and a keyboard, right? Whether it be a physical keyboard or a virtual keyboard, it's always been the same way. But I think over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a completely different way we interact with technology. It's going to be a lot more based on natural language. It's going to be based on the application of artificial intelligence into the interface and the way we work. I personally don't think we're that far away from augmenting ourselves with technology so that we have a more intimate relationship with the rest of the world. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. I think we're already seeing it with things like Alexa and Siri and Google now, but the applications are endless. Whether we're going to interact with our cars, or whether we're going to interact with our homes, or whether we're going to interact with completely self-sufficient systems out there that would help us live our lives. I think that's going to change dramatically. And it's not that far away. We've done a lot of work in SAP around integrating our systems with these kind of natural language processing systems. It just changes the way that you run your business, as an example, right? You can ask the system in natural language to pull out a few CVs that you think would be good for a role, and it would automatically do that without typing anything in. Right? So that's the first thing. I talked about artificial intelligence. I mean, it's a big buzzword, but I think the application of that intelligence into things we do every day is going to make a big difference to our lives. The connection between artificial intelligence and the devices that we use every day, I think, is going to change our lives as well. We look at the way transport will be handled in the future. Self-driving cars is an example of that. Whether it be artificial intelligence built into our fridges and our toasters. I think the playing around with the technology phase is over. And now it's about actually putting that technology to work in everyday life. You're going to see a lot more of that. The value of data, and I think this is something that people don't understand. I don't think anybody gets how valuable data is going to become. The most valuable commodity in the world today is not oil, it's not gold, it's data. And we have a lot of work to do to put all of that data together and make it applicable for the new world. But once we do that, the person who owns the data, the person who can understand that data the best, will have a competitive advantage over everyone else. So that is going to be very important for us. And then finally, with all of that data, security is very important. I believe that security is going to become a lot more important for technology as we move forward, or whether it be for a government, a business, or an individual, it is going to be the most critical thing. So security is not going to be an afterthought. It is going to be built into a lot of technology. That is going to be the first thing you think about, because if data is the most valuable thing, you as a person or you as an organization are going to be represented by the data that you have. And we've seen what's happened recently with the use of social media data and what that means for individuals and how it can influence the outcome of world events. So privacy and security will play a much bigger role. And then finally, I think, as always, things might happen with technology that we don't yet grasp. I think people who talk about the future of technology and say, this is how it's going to pan out in 10 years, I think are fooling themselves. It's always young, innovative people that are going to change the world. I look at the young people in South Africa today, and I think the way that they're taking up technology and using technology is going to result in solutions and ways of life that we probably can't grasp right now. So we'll have to see what the next 10 years hold, but I think it's going to be very exciting.
Now, talking about future technology leaders, what have you learned from your own journey that you consider most important for building future technology leaders or future leaders?
I spoke about the two things, but what I value quite a lot, and I think what helps you succeed is two very simple things. Always be ready to learn new things. If you want to become a leader in technology, then you need to understand this is one industry that does not stay still. Things change all the time, and you need to embrace new things, new ideas, new thinking. And by the way, because technology is so personal these days, you actually need to embrace new cultural norms when it comes to the use of technology. That will make you understand how to apply that technology and how to lead people from a technology perspective. The other thing is work ethic, right? We are more than ever living in a globalized world, and for us to stay competitive, we need to really work very hard. Curiosity is great, but then to actually do something with that means that you need to put in the hours. You need to work very hard. Collaboration is something that springs to mind as well. I think more and more technology is not something that can be. It's not an individual thing. It's based on teams that exist all over the world. You have to collaborate with people to make something successful. Even at SAP, by the way, we are only successful because of our ecosystem, our partners, sometimes our competitors, right? Independents out there, our customers. We all have to work together to make something successful. And I think if you cannot be an island, that's very important as well.
Now, Mehmood, when you speak to future leaders, and maybe even your children, what do you tell them they should focus on for future-proofing their career, if that is possible?
It's difficult to future-proof your career if you focus only on one thing because you don't know what is going to be relevant or not. Like I said, stay curious. I started out thinking I was going to be a C++ developer for the rest of my life, and potentially looking at computers as a paradigm back in the late 1990s is very different to today. So you have to continuously learn. As long as you're continuously learning, I think you're in good shape. What is also important, I think, is that people do what they love doing. At the end of the day, you have to be inspired by what you're doing. Technology is not something, I don't think technology is a career. I think everything you do today, technology plays a part in it. But if you're going to drive technology as a future, then for me, it's really about learning new things all the time. The most successful people that I've seen, in SAP at least, are people that are ahead of the curve. People who pick up things early on and drive them. As long as you drive them from a non-theoretical perspective and say, how is this going to change the world? Then I think you're in good shape.